You're watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's.
We are down to the final two. A championship is on the line at Walt Disney World Wide World of Sports Complex in Orlando, Florida. It's the title game of the Tire Pros Invitational, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. The number 11 Xavier Musketeers taking on the Northern Iowa Panthers for that trophy. Both teams needing an overtime in this tournament to reach this point. Xavier defeated Missouri in round one, Clemson in the semifinals to get here. Northern Iowa getting past Arizona State and overcoming an 18-point deficit to beat Oklahoma in OT to reach the finals. Inside HP Fieldhouse alongside NBA and Notre Dame standout LaFonso Ellis, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Fonz, two well-schooled, very tough teams in this finals, featuring the two best players in the tournament thus far.
Indeed. J.P. McCure for X has been absolutely sensational. 22 of his first half, of his 28 points coming in the first half yesterday. He was knocking them down with deep range, folks. They're going to need that tonight against a tough Northern Iowa defensive team. And for Northern Iowa, Clint Carlson, team down 18 yesterday in the second half, absolutely put the team on his back with beautiful drives and finishes like this, knocking down 3 points and looking and enjoying his work as well.
Both shooting over 50% from the field, both averaging over 20 points. And these are two teams, Fonz, who feature star players not named McCura and Carlson. So we should have an extremely entertaining championship game. Your starting lineups, McCura, Sumner and Bluiett are the stars for the Xavier Musketeers. Malcolm Bernard and Sean O'Mara is the big man. For Northern Iowa, freshman Jawan McLeod runs the point. Wyatt Lohaus, preseason MVC Player of the Year Jeremy Morgan, Clint Carlson, and Bennett Cook rounds out the first five for Northern Iowa. The Panthers at 3-0 coming in, Xavier at 4-0 and ranked number 11 in the country. The Musketeers will be in their black unis, the home whites with purple trim for the Panthers. Your officials tonight, Jerry Pollard, Ron Groover, and Lamont Simpson, and we are ready to go with a championship at stake in Orlando. Opening tip goes to the Panthers. What are the keys tonight, Fonz?
Well, Northern Iowa's playing against a much bigger team, going to have to protect their offensive backboard. -6 on the offensive glass for the tournament. For Xavier, going to have to keep Northern Iowa for fewer than 10 threes.
Nice up and under by Bennett Cook.
Well, that Northern Iowa averaging 13 made threes in this tournament. That's a good start by Bennett Cook on the interior.
Cook was 6 for 7 from the field in the first round against Arizona State.
A lot of matchup problems on the floor for Northern Iowa. Let's see if Xavier can take advantage.
Step back for Trevon Bluiett. And that's a good sign for Chris Mack's club if Bluiett comes out hot.
Yeah, only 2 of 13 from three-point line coming into this game tonight in the tournament.
Here's Carlson. He's gone from forward to folk hero for Northern Iowa.
And Rich, with the success Bennett Cook had, I'd like to see Northern Iowa go right back to the big man on the interior.
Here's Morgan. He stuffs the stat sheet for Ben Jacobson's Panthers. 7 on the shot clock. Now 3 to shoot. Picked off by O'Mara. Good hands by the big man Cook. So both big men have steals tonight. Cook wasn't expecting it from Carlson. And it's the first Northern Iowa turnover of the game. Chris Mack, in his 8th season at Cincinnati, the 46-year-old has led this Musketeers program to 6 NCAA tournament bids in 7 years since taking over for Sean Miller. And of course, that heartbreaking, buzzer-beating loss in the second round to Wisconsin. We'll revisit that as it ties into this game coming up later.
Xavier has a size advantage on the interior, so they're going to look to throw it inside to their bigger guards.
Big offensive rebound by O'Mara, and it goes out of bounds.
Yeah, you can't drop the basketball down below your chin if you're big. Those guards of UNI who are much smaller are going to come down and swipe at it as they did there.
Ben Jacobson, 11 years in Cedar Falls, made the NCAA tournament the last 2 years, and much like Chris Mack, a heartbreaking loss in last year's NCAA tournament. Offensive rebound for Clint Carlson.
Clint Carlson just does a great job. Now he's got a little advantage on that side too, as these guards from Xavier start to guard him. He may be able to have some opportunities on the interior as well.
Look at Edmund Sumner get after it on the defensive end.
Really moving his feet. They're aware of the three-point prowess of Northern Iowa.
Morgan gave it away. A rare turnover for the senior. Here's McCura. He was on fire in their semifinal win. Misses his first shot tonight.
With this lineup on the floor for Xavier, they have so much size, 1 through 4. I think they got to throw that basketball inside and take advantage of any mismatches they have on the interior.
Bennett Cook.
Nice move.
Up and under, left hand. I spoke to his brother, who's a graduate assistant, Jake Cook, who was a star on this team a few years back. He said Bennett's playing with a ton of confidence.
Oh, he's got such great footwork down low. Very patient. If you take away his first move, he's got all those step through and step under moves. Very skilled, big.
Cook corrals the ball.
Everything's a jump shot so far for Xavier that plays into UNI's hands.
The freshman McLeod turned it over.
But he got away with the travel, too.
Very rare for Ben Jacobson to start a freshman, especially at the point. Nice pass, McCura. In and out. Big rebound by Jeremy Morgan. Morgan, go ahead, Fonz.
Early pushes for Northern Iowa are going to be important so they're not having to go all night against that tough half-court defense of X.
Wyatt Lohaus, 33 for 3. Wyatt Lohaus, whose dad, Brad, was a star for the Iowa Hawkeyes in the mid-'80s. He wears number 33 because his godfather is none other than Larry Bird, Fonz.
Wow. The legend.
And Wyatt's younger brother is on the bench for this Panthers program as well. Ben Jacobson's all the way toward midcourt, talking to Jerry Pollard and Lamont Simpson.
Yeah, Clint Carlson caught a little elbow in the mouth. I think he may have a loose tooth up in there. You can see him kind of wiggling it around. Watch this elbow here, folks. Let's see if it was incidental contact here. Yeah, it was incidental, but he caught him there.
Drill a hole in that tooth, put it around your neck. It's a memento from what has been a most memorable tournament for Clint Carlson.
This is not hockey. It's basketball.
Carlson had 19 in the first round against Arizona State and 22, 4 for 8 from three-point range against Oklahoma Friday night.
Yeah, he was brilliant. I mean, with 6 minutes to go in the game, he absolutely put this Northern Iowa team on his shoulders, knocking down threes and driving as well. I like the fact that Northern Iowa is playing out of the box with Bennett Cook.
Another errant pass by the Panthers. We have 15:49 to go. Northern Iowa has jumped out to an early 7-2 lead. And coming up, we won't have Potsy, we won't have Ralph Mouth, but we will have Richie and the Fonz after this. The Northern Iowa Panthers from the Missouri Valley Conference with a 7-2 lead over the 11th ranked Xavier Musketeers, 15:49 to go. The finals of the Tire Pros Invitational here inside HP Fieldhouse. It is Sunday night, right?
I think so. I'm a little confused, though.
So just like that song, Sunday, Monday, Happy Days, that must make me Richie, and that must make you the Fonz. And Richie always goes to the Fonz to find out the most important information, right? Give us the keys to the game tonight.
For Northern Iowa, you got to limit the second chance opportunities. They're playing against a Xavier team that's so much bigger than they are 1 through 5. And for X, they got to make sure that they keep this Northern Iowa team less than 10 threes, averaging 13 made threes in the tournament. Can't allow that to happen tonight.
Stick around because Fonz is going to put on that leather jacket and some water skis, and you're going to jump over a shark later in the game, right? Maybe not.
Perfect place for it.
Maybe not. So happy days are the keys to the game, and if Xavier's going to win, and if Northern Iowa's going to win.
Northern Iowa has to limit the second chance opportunities for a much taller Xavier team. Too much depth, too much size for Xavier. If they allow them to attack the backboard, it's going to be a long night. And for X has to keep Northern Iowa to fewer than 10 threes. This is a Northern Iowa team that's averaged 13 made threes in the tournament. It's a big part of their offense. Got to shut it down, make it them a driving team.
Before things get too exciting here inside the gym, give me one. Give me an
Hey.
There you go.
Well, it's so funny. My youngest son, Walter, is a junior in high school, and I don't know where it came from, but whether it be on the floor when they're driving to the basket and think they got fouled, it's like, hey! Or if you said something cool, it's like, hey! MBB. So that's the modern version.
It only comes naturally for you. Hey, Northern Iowa has been bombs away from three-point range. In their opener against Co, they hit 10. Thursday night, they were 13 for 30 from three-point range. And last night, they used the three-pointer to get back in it. They were trailing by 18 against the Sooners and came all the way back to win that game in overtime.
Yeah, and you can tell already the awareness of the three-point line defensively for X. Want to run them off of those shots, but I like how UNI has been getting the basketball in early to Bennett Cook, number 25 in white. X has to double team them down on the post and to lead to some wide open opportunities on the perimeter.
And just so you know, it is now 7-3 because the officials went and checked during that timeout. Trevon Bluiett's first make of the game was behind the three-point line. Good job by them correcting that call.
First mechanical timeout, they're able to go to the monitor and check it out to make sure another improvement in the game that I think is beneficial for all.
Bennett Cook feeling it, not that time.
He can make that shot, but I like it better when he's catching it on the low post. He's got to stay out of foul trouble here because there's some big boys for X.
Here's Rashid Gaston, number 35 in black, transfer. And the freshman Gooden, no good. And we've got a foul on Carlson. That's where the Chuck rule comes into play, an emphasis for the officiating crews.
Indeed, they're paying attention to a lot of that. And Rich, here early, what we're seeing from X is a lot of jump shots. They got to put the basketball on the floor on ball reversals and try to get to the rim and make plays out of it. Too many jump shots so far for a team that's superior in size.
Here's Edmund Sumner.
Gaston has a mismatch down there. Got to get it to him sooner and get out of his way. Nice job.
Sumner thought about it, thought again, too strong from three. He struggled the first two games of this tournament.
And that's the weakness of his game. He's better off the bounce. 0 for 6 here in the tournament from three.
A lot of NBA scouts already have him on their radar.
And if you're Northern Iowa, you want to make this Xavier team shoot jump shots. Keep them out of the painted area off the bounce and out of the post.
Carlson shows three, goes to work on Bluiett in the left post. The left hand, no good.
It's a nice job by Trevon Bluiett, number 5 in black, holding his position, not allowing him to back him down.
Picked off by Carlson.
Ooh, Bennett Cook, 25, is wide open on the throwback.
They got it to him. Gaston walls him up, and Cook can't drop it. Tantalizingly close.
Yeah, he usually doesn't miss very many from there. But I like the fact that Northern Iowa's guards are aware of the fact that he's open when he's rolling on the throwback.
Only one field goal for the Musketeers. What would you like to see them do on offense?
Reverse and drive the basketball or throw it to the bigger guards on the box.
Bluiett turns, fires, and hits.
High post, elbow area. That's a great shot for Trevon Bluiett. They got to do more of it, whether it be the low post or the high post. You got to take advantage of those bigger guards.
Preseason Wooden Award top 50, Trevon Bluiett. And with 5 points tonight, he now has 997 in his Xavier career, 3 shy of 1,000. Makura picked it off, but gave it right back to the Panthers. Carlson, here's Morgan. Yes, Jeremy Morgan. He's the heart and soul of this Northern Iowa team.
What beautiful ball movement. Northern Iowa knows that X is coming out and running them off those three-point shots, and so the extra pass led to an open J there for Morgan. Beautifully done by Northern Iowa.
Jeremy Morgan had 20 points against Arizona State, 17 against Oklahoma.
Trevon Bluiett, he's killing it here early. I like the fact that he knows that he has a speed advantage on the bigger Clint Carlson. A little side dribble and step back. That's money there for Bluiett.
And in a championship game, you can have your Carlsons and your Makuras contribute. It usually comes down to star power, and those are your two stars. Jeremy Morgan for Northern Iowa and Trevon Bluiett for Xavier.
And X knows that. Look at how many bodies they have around number 20 in white, Jeremy Morgan, when he has the basketball. They are not going to allow him to beat them in the half court. Watch this, folks. As he drives to the basket, look at the number of bodies around him. They're not going to let him get off. That's a good game plan there from Chris Mack.
21 in white, Hunter Rhodes, and number 3, Ted Friedman, check in for Ben Jacobson's club. He likes to get substitutions in early and often There's 12:30 to go in this first half. He's actually a little later in his sub patterns than he had been in his first 2 games.
Yeah, he told us earlier in the first game that he would have all 9 guys having played before the 16-minute mark. To your point, a little late here. Thought Trevon Bluiett shot that ball a little too quickly. He can be patient with the much bigger player on him.
Bluiett, why not? Too strong that time. Morgan with the rebound. He leads this tournament in rebounds, does Jeremy Morgan. Both teams using an overtime win to reach the finals of the Tire Pros Invitational.
Yes.
Missouri tested Xavier in the first round, but Xavier won out 83-82. Northern Iowa got past Oklahoma in overtime in the semifinals. Here's Rhodes, fearless, off the mark. Macura leads the break.
Nice job by Northern Iowa getting back and getting set in their transition defense. What a retreat.
Bluiett, no one to go to,
well,
so they reset.
I love the discipline of Northern Iowa not biting on that flat drive.
8 on the shot clock for the Musketeers. Sumner, the runner. Gang rebounding by Northern Iowa.
Northern Iowa has completely taken X out of their half-court offense.
Foul. Do they count it? Yes, they do. Jeremy Morgan had a 3-pointer earlier in the game, and he has a chance at another type of 3-point play when we come back.
Jeremy Morgan realizing how much attention X is giving him on the offensive end. Little hesitation dribble here, gets the defense away from a little room, and it helps being a little lucky every now and then.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Tire Pros. Take the hassle out of tire buying. Find your local dealer today at tirepros.com. And Gildan, your favorite t-shirt.
There he is, Bill Murray, biggest Xavier Musketeers fan, still celebrating the Cubs World Series, of course, now hoping to celebrate his son Luke Murray, who's an assistant coach with Xavier, a championship here at the Tire Pros. And Bill was one of the first to coin the term Cinderella story in Caddyshack. Well, the Cinderella story of this tournament could be Northern Iowa, and Bennett Cook's leading the way in the finals.
I like what Northern Iowa has done, throwing the basketball down inside to Bennett Cook. He's got an array of moves around the rim, really clever, holds his position really well after ball fakes, and he's got one of the best step-through games in the country. And when you do that, now all of a sudden you got to give him a little extra attention, and he's a willing passer. Wyatt Lohaus knocks down a huge 3, and that's really what got you and I going on the offensive end. Bennett doing a terrific job of not only making plays for himself, but his teammates as well.
Chris Mack taking some liberties, just walking out onto the floor since Northern Iowa hadn't broken their huddle. Yeah. He goes out, talks to his boys, sets them up after this free throw. One of the most intense competitors you'll find, Chris Mack.
Indeed.
Terrific coaching matchup here tonight as well.
And Trevon Bluiett has been terrific as well. Number 5 in black to get it started. Made some really nice shots to create some offense for Xavier, because their offense in the half court has been not good.
Morgan, 6 points tonight. The senior from Coralville, Iowa, leading this team in points, rebounds, assists, steals as well.
Trevon Bluiett's in a good rhythm here. Let's see if they can get him involved again in the offense.
Macura, no. He had a career game in the semifinals, but hasn't scored yet tonight.
Yeah, a lot of jump shots early for Xavier. I'd like to see them get more dribble penetration. I know he missed it, but I like the play.
Three-pointer from the corner's good. That's number 21, Hunter Rhodes, the JUCO junior from Kenton, Illinois.
Number 11 in black, Malcolm Bernard, bit on that drive right there. That's too much space. Northern Iowa has too many good three-point shooters to give them that much room.
Macura, not shy. Finally, he's got his first bucket of the game. He leads this tournament in scoring, Fonz.
Yeah, Rhodes is only 6'1". Macura at 6'6". Anytime he can catch that ball on the perimeter, he can shoot it right over the top. Well executed by Xavier. Always do that by Xavier. I have a family friend whose name is Xavier.
Ten on the shot clock. Morgan, right in front of Macura. A deep three by Jeremy Morgan.
He uses that rhythm dribble with a little in and out. Hezzy freezes the defense, allowing him to shoot over the top.
I like Hezzy. I'm going to use that. Here's Macura. Heat check. And he knocks another one down. Back-to-back buckets for J.P. Macura, the 6'5 junior out of Lakeville, Minnesota.
You cannot give him an inch of space, and anytime he's involved on the ball screen or fade screen, you have to get to him more quickly.
And a whistle away from the ball. It's going to go on Northern Iowa.
Yeah, that's on Jordan Ashton, number 23 in white. He has to wait until his big number 3, Ted Friedman, gets over there before he moves. Most often that leads to a foul on the big, and that's exactly what happened there.
Second foul on number 23 in white, Jordan Ashton, a 6'4 grad student transfer out of Mount Pleasant, Iowa. He played in 4 years at 4 different schools.
Wow.
Most recently at Iowa State. Part of a Sweet 16 team a couple seasons ago. Here's Bluiett. Quick trigger. That's a 2-pointer from Trevon Bluiett, who leads all scorers with 9.
And right now, the offense for Xavier should run through Trevon Bluiett, number 5 in black, and number 55, Macura in black. Little 1-3-1 zone here. Short corners are open, especially on the skips.
Carlson. That's an old school lefty hook. You gotta love that one, Fonz.
He's so good at drawing contact and maintaining his balance and getting a good quality shot up on the glass.
Member of the All-Missouri Valley tournament team last year. Helped them beat Evansville in the finals of Arch Madness and go to the NCAA tournament.
See, I think X can give Bluiett some space to operate one-on-one against Clint Carlson.
Look at the passing from the Musketeers.
Rust that shot.
Yeah, and he knew it too. He tried to get his own rebound. Instead, it's 0 in black. Tyreek Jones with his first bucket.
Yeah, and once X gets you running around and scrambling, now all of a sudden you get one of their strongest guys, 6'9", 243-pound freshman Tyreek Jones at the front of the basket.
Lowhouse, kick ball. It'll stay with Northern Iowa, 17 on the shot clock.
With Bennett Cook back in this game, number 25 in white, I'd like to see Northern Iowa play inside out. It was so good for them early to get them an early lead. They shouldn't depart from it.
McLeod gives it up to Carlson. The baby hook no good this time. And Jones wrestles away the rebound.
Yeah, Bennett Cook in perfect position for that basketball. Took a second bounce, throwing his timing off. Couldn't quite corral that one.
Edmund Sumner controlling the point for Chris Mack's club, held scoreless so far. 7:40 to go in the first half. He misses, can't follow his own miss, but he does the third time. Third time's the charm for number 4.
Yeah, that's a big key right there for Northern Iowa. Smaller team, -6 in this tournament on the glass. Now all of a sudden, Xavier taking advantage of their superior size on the offensive glass.
Carlson, aggressive, but came up empty again. And it's out of bounds. We're waiting to find out whose ball it is. It's going to be Northern Iowa basketball. But it's starting to sound like Cintas Center South here in Orlando.
And Rich, one of your favorite words. Look at the little hezzy to get into the shot, freezing the defender, knocking it down from deep. Jeremy Morgan drawing a lot of attention, so he's going to be able to make some of these one-on-one plays, and drills it from 3.
Hey. Thank you, Doug. We look forward to seeing you guys at halftime. Hey, this isn't the only terrific holiday tournament going on. Tomorrow starts the Maui Jim Maui Invitational from where else? Maui, Hawaii. Tennessee takes on Wisconsin, Georgetown, Oregon, Oklahoma State, UConn, and North Carolina faces Chaminade. Give me some odds in that one, Fonz.
Well, I like North Carolina winning the entire thing. Wisconsin can give them a shot, but they got to be more intentional about throwing the basketball into their bigs, particularly with Ethan Happ. I looked up and saw that he was only averaging 8 points per game. They got to be more inside out. balance, especially if they're going to beat the Tar Heels in the finals.
You saw that trophy that's sitting there at courtside waiting to be delivered to one of these two teams, Northern Iowa and Xavier. And we talked earlier, Richie and the Fonz did, it's happy days for Northern Iowa, if what, and are they accomplishing that?
Well, they were accomplishing it early, forcing X to take some tough shots, but now X is all of a sudden starting to show their muscle on the offensive glass with 2 baskets off second chance points here in the last 2 minutes.
Cook, right hand, no. Gooden clears. And Sumner takes on the entire Northern Iowa defense and gets called for the offensive foul.
Yeah, Rich, those opportunities will be there against some teams, but not teams like Northern Iowa who are so disciplined with getting back and building a wall against that initial penetration. Look how many bodies are back right now. Against most teams, it would be there. Against Northern Iowa, it's not there. Got to make wiser decisions in transition.
Now number 30 in white, Spencer Haldeman, seeing his first action tonight. He's been a revelation in this tournament. Cook, tough shot, and it almost goes.
Rich, you can see why I talk about getting the basketball into Bennett Cook, 25 in white. He's such an unselfish ball player, and he has great, almost exceptional moves down in the low post. In our day, it would be the norm. But today, you can't find a lot of big men with good footwork down in the post. Cook's got it in a great measure.
He's 2 for 5 tonight, Fonz. He could easily be 4 for 5. A couple of those balls, including the most recent one, so close to dropping in and just rolled or bounced off slightly. So,
and part of that, he's playing against some guys on that front line of X who are big and strong and don't give up post room or post position very easily. And so it makes those shots a little tougher when you have somebody leaning on you.
5 points now for Bennett Cook, the 6'9" redshirt junior. One of 3 brothers who have donned the uniform for Ben Jacobson at Northern Iowa.
Trevon Bluiett, number 5 in black's been a little quiet. I think he's got to get a little touch here. Five on the shot clock.
There's Bluiett, right on cue, Fonz.
Because of how good Edmund Sumner, number 4 in black, is off the bounce, you can never leave the strong side corner. That time, Northern Iowa bit on the drive, opening up that opportunity for Bluiett to knock down a 3.
We have our first tie of the ball game. Xavier hasn't led since they were up 3-2, under 1 minute into this game. 10 on the shot clock.
Tell you what, Bennett Cook is a handful down in that low post. My goodness.
Let's take a look at how Trevon Bluiett tied it up.
And folks, watch the dribble penetration. Jeremy Morgan bites just a little bit on that drive, making too long of a run for him to get the Bluiett in the corner. Bluiett shot ready, knocking that one down.
Man, he's got a quick release, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
And he has remade his body, too. Lost about 15 pounds. And that was because he flirted with the NBA as well. Some of the NBA scouts said, you don't have an NBA body yet, young man. And he dedicated himself in the offseason to remaking his body, and he's accomplished it.
Yeah, better diet. He's always been a hard worker, but better diet now, and he looks the part now.
5.5 to go. Entertaining first half, just as we expected, tied at 22.
Bluiett's got it going. I would continue to try to find him on the floor.
Sumner with the seam, yes. First 2 of the night. Check that, second field goal for Edmund Sumner with 4.
Now that's Edmund Sumner's game. Not a great shooter at all, but he is magnificent off the bounce.
Chris Mack said end to end, he's as fast as any guard in the Big East.
That's saying something because he's 6'6".
Xavier has their first lead since they were up 3-2 under a minute into this game. Sumner comes over to double Cook, forces the turnover. Quentin Gooden at the other end has a chance at a 3-point play.
Folks, Edmund Sumner is starting to take over this game with his speed. Watch how quickly he comes off of that ball screen and turns the corner. And then he comes down and double teams, using that length on the interior to force a turnover off to the races. He's got such good vision in transition, drops a dime over to Quentin Gooden, and Q off the glass, draws a foul. Opportunity for a three-point play here.
Off the mark with the free throw, and 11-1 Xavier run has given them a 4-point lead, coming down to 4.5 left in the first.
Rich Jeremy Morgan, number 20 in white, has been a little quiet lately. He and Carlson are going to have to carry the offensive load here for Northern Iowa.
Spin move, Lowhouse. Almost got it to go over Sumner's outstretched arms.
With this lineup in, I think there'll be some opportunities to give it to Gaston down on the low post. Now, if he can be patient and if they can give him some room to operate, he should be able to score.
And Jerry Pollard caught him for the traveling violation.
And part of that, Rich, is as a post player, you have to be aware of where you are in the post. You have to have your lowest foot be above the thick block area. He was split between it with only one way to go, which was to the middle. Decided to go to the baseline. No room there. Led to a travel.
The freshman Gooden takes a seat for Xavier. J.P. McCura checks back in.
High ball screen on its way.
Here's Haldeman. Short on the three. And the long rebound to McCura.
Rich with Bennett Cook, number 25 in white, on the bench. Northern Iowa becomes a bit one-dimensional on the offensive end.
Sumner gets the foul. 3:44 to go in the first half. Xavier has jumped on top 26-22. And Bill Murray looking to celebrate yet another championship.
When you to Orlando.
Thank you, Doug. There's Bill Murray with his daughter-in-law, Kara Murray. How'd you like to have Bill Murray as your father-in-law? That's a story to tell, huh?
Indeed.
Kara Murray and Bill are both here, of course, because Luke, Bill's son, Kara's husband, is one of the top assistants for Chris Mack's club. There's the shiny dome of Luke Murray standing in the Xavier huddle right now. Be
careful with that shiny dome now.
He was once with the Rhode Island Rams as an assistant, moved over last season to Xavier. He's actually been at a tournament here in Orlando the last 3 years, and Bill has trotted along as well, and the two enjoyed Game 7 of the World Series together, both diehard Cubs fans as well. But Luke was fortunate enough to come to the game with Bill because the game was played in Cleveland and Xavier is located in nearby Cincinnati. So they got to enjoy a memorable father-son moment, to say the least.
What a wonderful World Series, Game 7 particularly, huh?
One for the ages.
I took that one in, even though I'm a Cardinals fan. With this lineup on the floor, Northern Iowa was primarily a perimeter ball club, so Jordan Morgan's going to have to try to attack to get some open shots on the weak side of the floor.
Another unforced error by Northern Iowa. Uncharacteristically sloppy for Ben Jacobson's club. 9 turnovers in the first half.
We talked about that length and size of Xavier, wondering how it was going to impact Northern Iowa, and it certainly has resulted into a lot of turnovers here in this game so far.
Been a while since Northern Iowa's got a bucket, and who do they go to? Jeremy Morgan, double digits with 12.
And Rich, we talked about early, both teams, because of how good they are defensively, needing to be able to attack early in transition, looking for early opportunities. That was well done by Northern Iowa. They need a lot of it on turnovers and missed shots.
Malcolm Bernard got himself in trouble and turned it over.
He had Edmund Sumner wide open on our side of the floor at the top of the key. He's got to make that pass.
Carlson spins, baseline. Pretty move, but comes up empty. He has shown an array of offensive skills in this tournament.
Yeah, he's so good with either hand around the rim. Gaston's got a little one inside, 35 in black, if X can see it.
McCura didn't recognize it, instead goes up with the left hand. Flip shot, no good. Here comes McLeod.
Got numbers here, 5 on 3.
Under 2 to go. There's Carlson for 3. Yes. The corner 3 and top of the key are the 2 sweet spots for Clint Carlson.
No question about it, but notice where those 2 buckets came from in transition. The push after turnovers and missed baskets are going to be important for really both teams, but have been the difference here for Northern Iowa.
Bluiett got it up in a hurry again, and Gaston picks it up and cleans it up.
X so physical on the inside on the offensive glass. They are so big and strong across their front line. And those opportunities to be there in bunches, because when Bennett Cook goes out of the game, Northern Iowa gets really small, essentially 5 guards on the floor.
McLeod calls his own number.
That's a tough shot.
Yeah, especially for a freshman, especially for someone who's really struggled offensively in this tournament.
Yeah, and especially against the length of the guards of Xavier.
Under a minute to go.
This is that size advantage that we talked about.
Sumner, too strong. And a foul away from the ball.
Trevon Bluiett, such a smart player. He knew that he had a mismatch down in the low box, and when that ball went up, he started to try to wedge himself inside with a much smaller player in front. That's a really smart play by number 5 in black.
With 49.8 left in the first half, it's a use it or lose it timeout called by Chris Mack. Let's take a look at the last 2 buckets, both in transition, Fonz.
Yeah, so important for both teams, really, to get out in transition, look for early opportunities because of how good the defenses are. Little push. Jeremy Morgan coming up late, able to find him early. He's enjoying his work, and watch this push up the floor by Juwan McLeod, finding Jeremy Morgan, unselfishly passes it over to Clint Carlson, drills it from the left corner.
What powers the digital world? Communication.
Alongside LaFonso Ellis, I'm Rich Hollenberg. This is the championship game of the Tire Pros Invitational, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's in Orlando, Florida. We have 49 seconds left, and Northern Iowa was leading most of this half, but now they are tied with Xavier 28-all, and they've used the three-pointer throughout this tournament to succeed. They're doing it again tonight, 45% from beyond the arc.
Yeah, really knocking it down. I love how they're getting him. But on that last possession down there on the offense end for X, Sumner rushed that shot down there. He's got to be patient. Nice move.
Cook showing the full array.
That is sweet stuff down there by number 25 in white. He's so patient and has all the spin moves, does a great job of keeping his pivot. High ball screen coming here.
Ben Jacobson is on the sideline making eye contact with Jeremy Morgan, saying, don't foul. They play defense with their feet, not their hands. And yet there is a whistle to the chagrin of Ben Jacobson.
Yeah, Edmond Sumner is really quick off the bounce and loves to go to his right. And so when he catches it, whenever that ball comes especially from the left side going right, all of your help is back to your left. You got to make him go back to the left side of the floor. It's a poor defensive decision there by Northern Iowa.
Sumner will have a 1-and-1, a 61% free throw shooter. And he knocks down the first to give him 5 points tonight. Had 19 in the first round against Missouri, but 0 for 5 from three-point range and only 5 for 12 from the free throw line.
Well, the teams have scouted him well. They're taking away his driving lanes and forcing him to be a jump shooter. That's not the strength of his game right now.
Knocked them both down there. Clutch free throws for Sumner. And it ties the game up at 30. Time running down. Heave time for Jeremy Morgan, and it's going to come up short. We thought it would be a tightly contested game, and that's exactly what we have. Bluiett and Morgan, the 2 stars of the game, are starring for their respective teams now, each with a dozen. Our halftime score, Northern Iowa 30, Xavier 30. And now we send it to Doug Kazarian, Andy Katz, and Seth Greenberg in the studio.
You're watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's.
Only 20 minutes until we crown a champion at the Tire Pros Invitational, being played at ESPN's Wide World of Sports. Tire Pros Invitational, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's, and we've got a dandy. 11th ranked Xavier 30, Northern Iowa 30, set to start the second half. Okay, mannequin challenge complete.
Nice.
Rich Hollenberg, LaFonso Ellis. It's been a terrific first half of basketball between these 2 teams, and they've also been terrific all tournament long. What's jumped out at you in the first half?
In the first half, both teams getting after it defensively. X started to play with a little more pace, getting some easy ones in transition. Trevon Bluiett was terrific. I like how Northern Iowa started out getting Bennett Cook the ball on the interior, and that's what got it going.
Trevon Bluiett started off quickly and has starred in this first half.
Yeah, he was aggressive early, but patient, looking for his opportunities. I love how his guards were trying to find him on the floor. 5 of 11 from the floor for 12 points. And then Jeremy Morgan, the defense is looking to find him on the floor, so Northern Iowa had to come up with other ways to get him the basketball on the move. They were able to get him in the half court, then in transition. Going to need more of those opportunities, and efficient 4 of 5 from the floor for 12 points for him. So, man, what a game. Both teams getting after it defensively and knocking down some tough shots.
And that top line, we joked about it. It was happy days for Xavier and that top line addresses that.
Indeed. Northern Iowa, they've done a great job on the boards. I mean, any opportunities that they missed, they were on the glass. Now, they were only able to get 6 second chance points off of those 8 offensive rebounds, but it's certainly playing out.
And what a great start for Edmond Sumner. He was ice cold through most of this tournament, to be honest with you, and most of this first half. Only 6 points for Sumner, but he comes out on fire in the second.
What a great call coming out of the halftime, trying to take advantage of Edmond Sumner's superior speed to turn a corner. Miscue there for Northern Iowa with Clint Carlson at the top. And if you don't contain him off the first bounce, he can get to the front of the rim as he did there.
And no Miles Davis for this Xavier team. I haven't talked about that yet. Yeah. He's still awaiting to find out what his status is going to be after some legal situations, but until he comes back, Chris Mack knows how valuable Sumner is for this team. He's averaging 40 minutes a game.
Yeah, he is absolutely terrific. When Miles Davis comes back, in my opinion, they're going to have one of the top 3 backcourts in the nation, because Miles Davis not only can shoot the basketball from deep, Rich, he's really worked on his game, and he's no longer a one-trick pony. He can make plays for his teammates, and it's going to give them tremendous depth and versatility in their backcourt.
Freshman Juwan McLeod from Germantown, Wisconsin, has struggled this year. 2 for 16 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, but he hasn't struggled at the line. That was his first miss of the season.
He really runs the team well. It's unusual that as a freshman you get an opportunity to start for Ben Jacobson, and he's been terrific in taking care of the basketball and running the offense, getting his teammates the basketball in places where they can score. This is a mismatch here for Sumner.
Sumner recognized it and took advantage. Back-to-back buckets for Edmond Sumner.
And whether it be straight up or on switches, I talked about it in the first half, X will have plenty of opportunities for mismatches with their superior size 1 through 4. Got to throw it inside to Cook. Really good in the first half.
Sean O'Mara, oh, that's Bennett Cook rather, no. Here comes Sumner.
They'll give him that shot. Not a great three-point shooter. They'll give him that one.
We've watched all of Xavier's games. You were telling me something that you found interesting. Chris Mack usually is runs such a tight ship with these Xavier Musketeers. Everyone knows their roles, and yet guys like Sumner and Trevon Bluiett get a little bit of freedom within this offense.
Yeah, a lot more green light. And look at the recognition here. He knows that he's got a smaller guy. That's 5'11" on 6'6". Just takes him down into the low block area, looks around, seeing if he's clear, and using the superior size to just shoot it over the top. Great recognition there by number 4 in blue.
Sumner scored the last 7 Xavier points. Who's going to get the first field goal for Northern Iowa? They haven't had one in the second half yet.
Yeah, Lohaus rushed that shot.
You get the sense the first 5 minutes of this half are going to be crucial.
Huge.
Out of bounds off Bernard. It'll be Northern Iowa basketball.
And what we've seen on the last 2 possessions is each team's length impacting their ability to finish around the rim. Got to come to a little jump stop, be patient, and allow it to develop. But I think for Rasheed Gaston, 35 in black, they got to give it to him when he has 2 feet in the paint. Otherwise, give him some space to operate.
Morgan thought about the 3, got D'd up by Bluiett. Cook kept his pivot foot. Here's Morgan with a hand in his face. Man, he is clutch.
And Rich, that's what it's got to be about here in the second half. It's going to be a nip and tuck game all night long for the rest of this second half. Can you get the basketball to your best players on the floor in positions that they can score? X has done that here early. Northern Iowa's got to do it more with Jeremy Morgan.
Bluiett with the answer. That's a 2-pointer. from Trevon Bluiett. He has 14.
2 straight possessions from X, recognizing mismatches on the floor. That time, Bluiett with a Carlson, who he has a speed advantage on. Carlson afraid to get up close to him, and he knocks it down.
No stage too big for Jeremy Morgan. He had 36 in the second round of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, people calling for a travel there. I thought that was a foul.
It was indeed. And that's going to go on 35. Rashid Gaston, his second.
And Bennecook's going to have to be careful. What X is doing defensively now is they're waiting for him to spin, and then they're coming after him quickly. So he's going to have to look to move the basketball to the weak side of the floor. You and I will be able to find some good looks.
Morgan. Lowhouse. Tipped, and a fresh 30 for the Panthers. Cook tries to go right to work and gets another foul.
Gaston just found himself in a compromised position there. Didn't quite get himself in good sound defensive position there. That's a good call by the official.
That's going to go on Bluiett, his second.
I go right back to Cook.
Out of bounds, it stays Panthers basketball.
That is ridiculous length that Xavier has with their guards. Each of them 6'6" with long arms.
Kind of reminds me of Jim Boeheim's 2-3 zone at Syracuse. Cook lost it. Makura. Sumner blocked by Morgan, and the foul is called.
Juwan McLeod, number 13 in white, can't bring his man into the area for Bennett, because now all of a sudden Sumner just stayed behind him. He didn't know he was there, and when you allow X to get out to the races, they have so many guys on the wing that can finish at the rim. You cannot turn the basketball over against this team.
Sumner, first miss from the free throw line tonight. So he's stuck on 11. He had 11 in the semifinal win over Clemson, but turned the ball over 5 times in that contest.
Yeah, he's the most talented guy on this team. Led the team in steals last year. Athletic, skilled, excellent driver. And you're talking about a lot of speed in the 6'6" guy. Once he turns the corner, he can get to the rim in a hurry. The areas of his game he needs to work on is his perimeter jump shot. As you've seen tonight, Northern Iowa's been willing to give him open J's, but they're trying to keep him out of the paint. So far, that's worked well for Northern Iowa.
Spencer Haldeman, 30 in white, on for Ben Jacobson's Panthers. Carlson tried to take advantage, couldn't. Here's Sumner again. Reset. Bluiett.
I like the shot from Bluiett.
Look at that work on the offensive glass by Gaston. That's Xavier basketball, Fonzie.
It is. We talked about that being a huge key for Northern Iowa. Could they keep X off the offensive glass? In the last 4 minutes of the first half, they were getting on the offensive glass, and now that's another one there.
15:46, timeout on the floor. Xavier trying to get a stranglehold on this one.
Watch as the shot goes up, folks. Bluiett knocks down one from the corner, and on the very next possession, Jeremy Morgan knocks down a huge 3 to keep you and I close.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's.
When you need...
After tonight's finals, we say goodnight from Orlando, but aloha from the Maui Jim Maui Invitational tomorrow. Tennessee, Wisconsin, Georgetown, Oregon, Oklahoma State, UConn, and North Carolina, Chaminade. Opening round action on ESPN2 and ESPNU, and the championship will be later on this week on ESPN. Always a stacked field out in Hawaii. As we take a look at Edmund Sumner, who had 6 points all first half, already 6 points this half. And it's interesting, he's such a quiet, reserved kid that Chris Mack said, what are we going to do to get him out of his shell as a sophomore? They sent him to an acting class, Fonz.
Really?
He took an acting class over the summer to learn how to speak louder, learn how to be more vocal, to step outside your comfort zone a little bit, and hopefully they think it's going to pay dividends down the road for him.
Yeah, you need your point guard to be the head coach out there on the floor, which means he's got to be one of the most, if not the most vocal person out there.
Offensive foul called on Ted Friedman. Great position by Makura.
I'm a big proponent of whenever you catch the basketball, whether on the perimeter or in the post, you got to have a scorer's mentality. That basketball above his head the entire time. Never saw J.P. Makura in front of him. Really nice read there by Makura, knowing that he had no awareness of where he was on the floor.
Xavier finished second in the Big East last year as Edmund Sumner continues to dominate. He has 14 now. What do you expect from Xavier this year? Obviously, they're preseason ranked 11th, so most people around the country think they're going to be pretty darn good.
Well, I have Xavier, especially with Miles Davis back. I have them finishing in my Final Four, getting to the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. I think they're that good.
Haldeman. No. What a tip. But it doesn't go for Morgan. Fresh 30 for the Panthers.
Everything a jump shot now for Northern Iowa. They got to get some dribble penetration to get to the hole or be able to take some of those shots.
Deep three, Makura, no.
Off of dribble penetration.
Those were falling Friday for him, not tonight.
And Rich, this is one of the problems with Bennett Cook on the bench. Now you don't have that inside-outside threat. They're pretty much one-dimensional, a perimeter team right now, Northern Iowa.
And Friedman not a threat offensively at all. 4 on the shot clock. He better get it up. He didn't know that the shot clock was running down, and it is a shot clock violation on the Panthers. Well, Spencer Haldeman's a redshirt freshman, and that's what you would fall under the category of freshman mistake.
Yeah, he's got to take that shot, Rich, and I've seen it so many times throughout my basketball career where you miss an opportunity to take a wide open shot, you try to make an extra play, it usually leads to a poor shot or a turnover. That time it was a turnover. But Xavier's defense has really ratcheted it up here in this second half.
A 7-0 run for the Musketeers. Looking to bust this one open and give themselves some breathing room. Bluiett, catch, fire, no.
Legal screen.
Yep, we're going the other way. So Fonz, I can't let this go. You have Xavier going to Glendale in the Final Four.
I do.
Who are your other three?
I have Duke, I have Kentucky, and I have Oregon.
Not completely chalk. I give you credit for that. Well, they certainly have the pieces, and Chris Mack has certainly shown that he could be a Final Four caliber coach. He's taken this team to the Sweet 16 a couple of times, and as we mentioned, 6 NCAA tournaments in the last 7 years. They are a winning program.
Yeah, he's done just a fabulous job here, and the level of excellence that they've been able to maintain is just outstanding. He's got great assistant coaches over there who do a good job of going out and getting guys who fit his system. We've talked about that big front line that they have, all physical, all very strong, great on the offensive glass.
Bluiett gave himself a little rhythm jump shot with that dribble to the side.
Yeah, and that's what the early push does, is it creates one-on-one situations with Xavier's guards with a couple of the bigs from Northern Iowa, and they've been taking advantage of it all night long.
Trevon Bluiett needed 8 points to reach 1,000 in his career as a Musketeer. He's already doubled that. He has 16. He's leading the Musketeers to a 10-point lead over Northern Iowa. 13:29 to go till a champion's crown. When a championship is on the line, your stars usually shine, and that's what's happening for Xavier right now, ranked 11th coming in the championship game of the Tire Pros Invitational, brought to you by Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. They have a 10-point lead, and they've been led, especially in the second half, by Trevon Bluiett and Edmund Sumner.
Absolutely. Edmund Sumner doing a great job of recognizing mismatches out on the floor and rising over the top. Trevon Bluiett's been able to get isolation situations and have been drilling it, and then Ed Sumner, known more as a driver, able to knock down that 15-foot shot there, shooting it with some confidence. Those two have combined for 30 of the total 44 points for Xavier. When you need someone to step up and make plays, you go to your best players. The two best players for X are getting it done right now for the Musketeers.
And they've scored as a duo 14 of the last 16 Musketeer points.
You know how excited I get about teams going to their best players at money time.
So does that beg the question, what does Northern Iowa do to cut into this 10-point lead?
Well, again, I think at some point you got to get Bennett Cook back in the game to give some balance to their offense. Without him being on the floor, they become one-dimensional with him on the floor. Now they got an inside-outside presence.
Nowhere to go. Good defense by the freshman Tyreek Jones.
Yeah, caught the basketball too low on the block. Only one way to go and got stuck.
Trailer three, rattles down. Malcolm Bernard, his first bucket of the game.
Malcolm Bernard's been shooting it at a nice clip, shooting 40% from three in this tournament. He's now 3 of 6, 50%.
And a hand check foul is going to go on Bernard.
And Rich, we talked about this earlier. Both teams, because of how good they are defensively, it was important to get some easy ones in transition. McCure finding a trailing Malcolm Bernard who walks into a three and knocks it down. And that's really been the difference in this game here, is how X is able to get out in front. They've been active on the offensive rebound, on the offensive glass. They've gotten out in transition and gotten some, and their ability to recognize mismatches on the offensive attack has been huge.
That free throw from Morgan quells a 12-0 Xavier run. Morgan has 17. 11-point Xavier lead, matching their national ranking right now. McCura got it to go. First bucket of the second half for J.P. McCura. He has 8. Another mismatch taken advantage of on the floor. White Lowhouse, 33 and White, only 6'2", trying to guard a McCura who's 6'6". The game plan right now for Chris Mack offensively is tremendous. Offensive rebound, Jordan Ashton. Good job out of him getting the fresh 30 for the Panthers. Carlson, that shot has not been there tonight. X has been in his shot pocket, taking it away. With a hand in his face, Jeremy Morgan misses it. He wanted a foul on Bernard, but no whistle came. Northern Iowa not getting anything out of their offense right now. Everything's one-on-one. They got to get more movement and try to get that, that tough defensive X on the move, and it'll create some cleaner looks at the rim. Ben Jacobson, as steady Eddie as it gets as a head coach. And his team usually mirrors that mentality. Right now they're flustered. Oh! Hello, Quentin Goodin. Haldeman can't silence the crowd. And here comes Bluiett. Danger time for the Panthers. Bluiett. Felt like that one would have brought the house down. Indeed. And a foul on McCura in transition. Xavier won a tournament here last year in this same gym. It was the Advocare. This year they're trying to add the Tire Pros Invitational title. And Quentin Goodin with the exclamation point. Did you see how high his head was on the rim? Casting, flexing.
When you
Well, Xavier, a comfortable 51-36 lead in the Tire Pros Invitational Championship game, 11-13 to go. And during the commercial break, we went viral, Fonz. The mannequin challenge, not by us. We were just part of a group, about 5,000 of us pulling off the mat. Look at it. The Northern Iowa fans were in it. The Xavier fans were in it. This is a lot of fun. Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's not live. That was a couple minutes ago.
Bert even in on it.
Bert got it. I wasn't sure if Bert was in on it or he was just shooting it.
That's great.
Oh, man. Talk about freedom of movement.
Oh, indeed.
Isn't that an emphasis for the officiating?
Right. We had proper spacing on that one.
A 16-2 Xavier run.
Rich, what we've seen here in the last 4 minutes of this game is the superior length and size benefiting Xavier on both sides of the floor. They've taken away the offensive opportunities for Northern Iowa in the half court, and on the offensive end, they've taken advantage of every single mismatch they've had on the floor, and that's been the difference in this game to this point.
It's 2 free throws from here on out for Northern Iowa. There's still 11-13 to go in this game, and they're in the double bonus already. 1 for 2 from Morgan. He has 18, but no one else contributing offensively for the Panthers. Xavier has been hot, 7 of their last 10. Northern Iowa has not, missed 9 of their last 10. 10 on the shot clock. Gaston swatted away from behind.
Yeah, he should have gone as soon as he caught it, because if you wait too long, the double team is coming. Waited too long there.
It's been 7 minutes since Northern Iowa has gotten a field goal.
Rich, Clint Carlson is number 2 in white's got to get going here in the second half. He's been awfully quiet. He and Morgan have to take over this game.
5 on the shot clock. Morgan rises up. Short. Xavier defense, maybe some tired legs, Fonz.
Well, it's the length. It forces you to put a little bit more arc on your shot. If you think about the last 2 games that we've seen him, he doesn't have that much arc on the shot. He's concerned about the length of Xavier blocking that shot. Again, I think you got to get Bennett Cook back in here. Northern Iowa has no balance to their offense.
Bluiett missed. Gaston came up with it. Battle for the loose ball, and we have a foul going the other way, and look out. That's big against little. And J.P. McCurran not happy either. He's going after Spencer Haldeman.
And J.P. as rugged and as tough as they come.
There's a ton of fight in both of these clubs.
Indeed, Gaston getting inside position there, going after the rock, gets it secured, and they get a little tangled up here. And that's really what precipitated it all.
Boys being boys. And now the officials will go over and check this for any subsequent fouls called.
Yeah, I didn't think there was anything that really warranted a technical.
Yeah, neither player, Gaston nor Haldeman, really did anything extracurricular on that play. They just got tangled up.
Yeah, and then right here you can see the little push off there from Spencer Haldeman, number 30 in white. Yeah, no elbows. I didn't think there was anything excessive.
Haldeman took an elbow to the head, but that was inadvertent coming down off that rebound attempt.
Yeah, I didn't think there was anything excessive there.
Great job by Jerry Pollard and the crew. And then Jeremy Morgan stepped in, and J.P. McCurran took offense. Cooler heads prevail. That's Jerry Pollard, veteran official, talking to Chris Mack, explaining his assessment. And now they're trying to determine who the shooter is, and it looks like it's going to be Spencer Haldeman going to the line for Northern Iowa.
Another reason why I'm so grateful that the officials get a chance to go to the monitor to make sure that they get it right.
So Haldeman at the line, scoreless tonight. He had 8 in the semifinal win over Oklahoma, 17 against Arizona State on the first night of this tournament. He was 5 for 7 for 3 in that game.
White hot. And Rich, we've seen some uncharacteristic things tonight from Northern Iowa. They're usually a very disciplined team. They've missed some free throws. They've turned the basketball over. Have made some mistakes on the defensive end of the floor. And Rich, if Clint Carlson, number 2 in white, doesn't get involved in this game offensively for Northern Iowa, they have no shot of beating X.
We saw him come alive in the second half of their semifinal win. They need him in a big way now with counting down to 9.5 to go in this championship game. Sumner, and one. We are seeing a different Ed Sumner tonight.
He's in 100% attack mode and making the perfect read. Watch there. He saw Halderman get over to his right side, which opened up that angle. And he's so long that he's able to get his first step by you. And once he gets to the rim, he is a terrific finisher, and his bench loves it.
Edmund Sumner has been described as a, quote, no warts kind of kid. Terrific family, terrific upbringing. He's a computer science major.
Yeah.
He's got all the skills on the basketball floor, too, to play at the next level.
He's a big-time tech geek, really cerebral kid.
There's another whistle that'll send the Panthers back to the free throw line.
I didn't see that one. Both teams in the double bonus here with 9:21 to go in the game. So guaranteed 2 free throws from here on out.
Fairly typical of an early season tournament like this, where the officials are trying to enforce some of the rules and some of the emphasis that they discussed in the offseason with these coaches. Ben Jacobson knows it. Chris Mack knows it.
And I think they've done, I've watched several games. I think the officials have done a great job, and I think the players have done a really nice job of adjusting to the rules. Right now, though, on the offensive end for X, they can get anything that they want, especially down in the post with the smaller players. What a heady play there by Jordan Morgan.
Yeah, they come up with a stop. Try to get some of that Uncle Mo back on their side. McLeod leaves it for Cook, and Cook goes off the window.
Anytime we've seen it, dribble penetration has been really good for Northern Iowa when they've not been able to get dribble penetration, throwing it in the box to Bennett Cook. They're going to get back in this game. That's how they're going to do it. Dribble penetration and throwing it in to number 25.
Fonz, that was their first field goal in nearly 10 minutes.
Now, Rich, got to look for early opportunities in transition. This is the time for Jordan Morgan to get good looks.
Carlson quick to pass it up and taken away by Gooden. Wow. Quentin Gooden showing the athleticism tonight. He had that vicious dunk earlier in the game and a pretty end-to-end drive that time.
I think that really got him going because he's been very tentative on the year so far. Chris Max has been after him about being more aggressive. So taking that shot.
Carlson passed up the 3 and instead went for the drive. And the foul is called, and Chris Mack is beside himself. We've reached our under 8 timeout, 7:54 to go. Xavier up by a dozen, 56-42, make that 14, but Northern Iowa's going back to the line.
When in Orlando.
Thank you, Doug. Xavier, 39% in the first half, but 55% in the second half, and that's a major part of this story, why they're up 14. Northern Iowa, conversely, was near 50% in the first, and they have barely had a bucket in the second half, Fonz.
Yeah, X has done a really nice job, again, of attacking off the bounce, especially with Edmund Sumner. And anytime they've recognized mismatches on the floor, they've taken advantage of them, whether it be in the post or on the perimeter. And on the defensive end of the floor, X has done a great job of taking Clint Carlson completely out of this game. A guy coming in this game, 21 points per game in the tournament. How about 5 points tonight on 2 of 7 shooting? They've really given him a lot of attention on the defensive end.
And listen, both of these teams can score the basketball. Xavier's always been a high-scoring club. They average 84 points coming in their first 4 games, but they have 16 more field goal attempts than Northern Iowa tonight.
Part of that is they've been active on that glass. 10 offensive rebounds in this game, as well as forcing a usually typically disciplined Northern Iowa team handling the basketball into 14 turnovers as well.
Clint Carlson has been held to 6 points tonight. He's now made it onto the scouting report, I think, Fonz.
Indeed.
Carlson comes away with it.
Yeah, Benny Cook was in trouble on there. Jeremy Morgan did a really nice job of coming over and giving him some help.
Hey, after what we saw Friday night against Oklahoma, maybe with 7.5 left, Northern Iowa's got this team right where they want them. They were down 18 to the Sooners with about 11 minutes to go and ended up winning that game in overtime.
I tell you what, I've seen Jeremy Morgan play before, but I've really learned to appreciate his all-around versatility since we've been watching him this weekend. He rebounds the rock, passes, he scores as a driver, can score it at all 3 levels. And he's getting it done right now for his teammates. He's got 20 points in this game, but they got to get Clint Carlson, number 2 in white, going.
Morgan found a seam. Oh, and he can't get it to go. Just a little too strong.
That length of X forced him to rush that shot a little bit and overextend.
He was almost surprised that he was that open on the layup.
Indeed.
Out of bounds, it stays Musketeers basketball, and even 7 minutes on the clock, 17 on the shot clock.
And Rich, Northern Iowa's done a great job on the defensive end of hounding J.P. McCure as well, not giving him any open looks. It's been a long time since we've seen him even get a shot attempt.
The Xavier offense has done a much better job tonight valuing the basketball. Only 10 turnovers. They came in averaging over 14 a game.
Yeah, Bluiett and Sumner for the rest of this game.
Step back. Too strong. McLeod. Good job keeping his dribble.
Yeah, really smart play because he had no numbers. Would have been 1-on-4. And Rich, I was going to say, got to continue to play. Yeah, he picked up that left foot. It's a good call.
And listen to the Xavier faithful.
They feel like they've been on the short end of the stick in some of the calls recently.
"13-point lead and the ball, 6:20 until they can lay claim to the Tire Pros Invitational Championship. Great way to start the season for the 11th ranked Musketeers. But it's not over yet. Offensive foul called on Ed Sumner.
That's a little shielded from that one.
And that's 4 fouls on number 4. So if Northern Iowa's going to make a comeback, it has to start now.
Yeah,
with Sumner on the bench.
The problem is Xavier's really deep, especially in their backcourt. And now they come in with Quentin Gooden, who's had a really good game himself in limited minutes.
Morgan passed it up under the basket. McLeod. I don't know if that's who you want shooting the ball if you're Ben Jacobson.
Yeah, throw that ball inside to Cook. He's got a small one on him right now.
And heavy contact inside between Bennett Cook and Trevon Bluiett. And the offense gets the benefit of the doubt.
And folks, this is how you get big down in the post. Watch as this ball caroms off the rim. UNI secures it here. Bennett knows he's got a little small one on the inside, doesn't throw him around because he knows if he extends, he's going to draw an offensive foul. Really wise play right there by number 25 in white.
Tonight, tune in to SportsCenter at Night with Bucci and Stan Verrett. They'll have all the college hoops, NBA, and NHL highlights, as well as the rest of the day in sports, with Boomer and Herm joining the show for NFL highlights and analysis. SportsCenter at Night on ESPN.
Always good when you have Boomer and Herm. Two of the funniest guys.
I've been so locked in on college hoops, I forgot it was an NFL Sunday.
Yeah. Nice skip. Northern Iowa has to force X to make jump shots and not allow them to get second chance opportunities.
Bluiett. Out of bounds, saved. Bernard with time running down on the shot clock.
Terrific.
And McCura, look at McCura at midcourt.
Terrific defensive possession right there. And yes, McCure is hot with his guard there, feeling that he should have taken the shot. He's got to know time and score, and especially how much time's on the shot clock.
That's a veteran schooling a freshman right there.
That's a leader.
Lowhouse ran into a brick wall, number 55. And the foul on McCure.
I guess in that case, you got to give him a step, because I thought J.P. McCure was in good defensive position there.
J.P. McCure is one of those boy next door looks, but he's got a little fight in him, doesn't he?
A little bit more than a little. You go into a brawl, he's a good person to take with you.
He was the Big East 6th man of the year a year ago, and he's been described as an ultimate back alley guy. He backs down to no one.
Yep. He and Dante Grantham of Clemson got mixed up a little bit, jawing at one another, and Grantham hit a three and start talking trash to him running down the floor, and you could just see JP looking at him just smiling.
It's down to a 10-point lead, 5 minutes to go.
Got to go through Bluiett here, number 5 in black. Clint Carlson can't guard him out on the floor.
Spin move. Carlson holds his ground. And he comes away with the rebound. Staunch defense by the Panthers.
Excellent defensive positioning there by number 2 in white. Keep throwing it inside to Bennett Cook. Give him some room to operate.
He's got the room. And he traveled with it.
And what Bennett has to do, Rich, is he's got to know that the double team is coming from his blind side. And Northern Iowa's guards have to make themselves available to allow him to make the pass, because the play will be available on the weak side of the floor. Look at the number of bodies that are around him. That ball's got to go quickly right back out to Carlson. Carlson would have had an open three.
And we saw this in their Friday night semifinal. Bennett Cook working so hard, he's really run out of gas.
Yes.
And he got pulled from the game. Smart move by Ben Jacobson, and smart move by Cook, knowing that he needs a blow so he could be available for the final 4 minutes or so.
Indeed.
We'll take a timeout as well, 4:25 left, and it's a 10-point game for the Tire Pros Invitational Championship.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Tire Pros. Take the hassle out of tire buying. Find your local dealer today at tirepros.com.
We think this is the final play in East Lansing. 1-point game. Florida Gulf Coast with a chance with a couple seconds to go. And Travius Simmons gets a good look, but the clock may have started before he touched the ball. They're reviewing the play. We'll keep you updated on that one. Back to Orlando.
Gulp.
DK. I know, right?
Both of us, our eyes lit up when he said East Lansing. What?
I was ready for DK to say it.
Let's take a look at our Tire Pros drive of the game, brought to you by Tire Pros. And who else would you give it to other than Quentin Gooden?
They call him Q. Chris Mack has been asking him not to overthink things and be aggressive off the bounce. I'll call that aggressive. What a finish by Quentin Gooden. My goodness, how high he was off the ground.
I want to hear Bucci and Barrett talking about that one on SportsCenter tonight.
Yes. Nice seal.
Inside, Tyreek Jones.
Beautiful seal inside by Tyreek Jones. Well-designed play coming out of timeout.
It's a hallmark of a terrific coach, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And folks, watch how spread out Northern Iowa gets on that ball screen, and it allows, wow, what a finish. Tyreek Jones to seal on the inside. Too late coming underneath was Jeremy Morgan, and a powerful finish. Carlson's got to get in this game.
Shoot that. Off the mark.
It's been a while since he's had a touch, so he's a little bit out of the rhythm. And it's tough when you're a rhythm shooter the way he is. When you've gone as long as he has without a touch, it's tough to knock that one down.
Seeing this kind of grit from Xavier makes me wonder about the Big East in general, Fonz. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they much respect, because they have 3 teams right now in the top 25. And folks, look out for Creighton. They have a transfer from Kansas State, and Marcus Foster, an electric and explosive scorer, leading the team in scoring right now.
They took down Wisconsin.
Yes.
That's a big gold star on their resume this season already. And Georgetown had Maryland dead to rights, but gave that game away.
Wow, missed opportunity there by Northern Iowa. Jimmy Morgan almost had that one.
Xavier, 10-point lead with the ball, under 3 to go.
Got to make X shoot J's, but you got to take him away, Makura. Now you got to push, look for early opportunities, try to find Morgan in transition.
So one thing Juwan McLeod can do is push the basketball, but he had it blocked at the other end by Bernard.
He's too small at 5'11". That's a freshman mistake of going down there with 3 guys at 6'6 plus. Got to take it down there if you don't have anything, pull that thing out and get them into their offense. But he'll learn. He's just a freshman.
When you have 3-point shooters on your team like Northern Iowa does, look for a transition 3.
Indeed.
Stolen by McLeod. He's all alone and lays it in at the other end.
Way to make up for it. And that's a sign of maturity, because a lot of freshmen make a mistake like that and they go in the tank on the other end. But he stayed alert defensively.
Turns 19 years old on December 1st. He's got a long college basketball career ahead of him.
Force X to shoot J's. Do not allow them to get second chance shots.
Sumner back in the game. Too strong on the jumper.
Now you got to push here. Try to get in the lane and find some 3-point shooters.
Ashton thought about it. Now he tries it. And it goes in. There might be a little Northern Iowa magic still left in them.
I'll say so. But again, the dribble penetration's been so good. Whether off the turnover or a missed basket, get down in that lane and look for shooters.
And now Chris Mack calls one of his final 2 timeouts with his team up just 58-53, and you're hearing it from the faithful who came down from Cedar Falls to watch this tournament.
And Rich, this is vintage Northern Iowa basketball. Able to get a little dribble penetration and a little kick over the Ashton, gets a little soft bounce. And that's what they've been missing a lot in the second half. Dribble penetration, getting in the lane, drawing and kicking, averaging 13 made threes in this tournament.
Well, one thing that these 2 teams unfortunately both share in common is heartbreaking losses in last year's NCAA tournament. Of course, it started with Northern Iowa and that unconscionable 12-point lead that they coughed up in the final minute, a game that went double overtime. They ultimately lost in the second round to Texas A&M with a trip to the Sweet 16 on the line. And in that same round, it was a Bronson Koenig 3-pointer that ultimately spelled doom for the Xavier Musketeers at the buzzer. Koenig won it, Wisconsin advanced, and the Xavier Musketeers went home heartbroken. Chris Mack has very honestly called that the most crushing defeat in his head coaching career. Both of these teams deserve a ton of credit for turning the page and turning things around as quickly as they did. Now, they both stand just a couple of minutes away from winning a championship in the early part of this season.
And both teams have matured from that experience, Rich, because of what it forces you to do is now you start to go and you consider situations. Folks, in practice, we have these things called situations. Up 4, 2 minutes to go, down 4, 2 minutes to go, up 3 with 30 seconds to go, and each of them have had to dig a little deeper to make sure that their team is more prepared down the stretch. And so I'm excited to see what the X's and O's are going to be at the end of this game with 1:23 to go.
Ben Jacobson was very candid with us, told us before this tournament started that the one thing that he learned more than anything was you can never be too prepared. He feels like he's as prepared as any head coach in the country, but he wasn't prepared for up 12, 44 seconds left. How do you come back when your team starts kind of folding in on you? And he feels like he learned a lesson from that and his team learned a lesson from that. And both of these coaches are as prepared to handle this situation right now with 1:23 in the finals as anybody would be.
Absolutely, and you can expect X on their end to have the basketball in the hands of their best players, which are Edmund Sumner, number 4 in black, and Trevon Bluiett, number 5 in black. For Northern Iowa, Jeremy Morgan, number 20 in white, and Clint Carlson, number 2 in white. The most important part here is to make sure defensively for Northern Iowa that you force X to take jump shots. That's not their strength. Their strength is off dribble, is driving it to the rim and on the offensive glass. And do not allow JP Makura to get an open 3.
Did we think it was being a close game? Absolutely. Did we think it would be in the 50s? Sure we did. What we can't account for is, does Northern Iowa have some more magic left in their bag? Coming back from 18 down to beat Oklahoma in the semifinals. Do they have another comeback in them with 1 minute left in this championship game? No shot. Foul on Northern Iowa.
Yeah, J.P. McCura, such a threat to shoot it that you got to get up on him a little closer, but that allows him to use that long stride of his to get an angle on you to the rim, and that's exactly what happened there to draw that foul.
Starters on the floor for the Xavier Musketeers. And a foul to give, and Juwan McLeod does just that.
Got to make sure you protect the rim here, but it'd be good to try to go for a steal here. If you're going to foul, take a quick foul trying to run through the ball.
Bluiett slipped, but they blew the whistle right before that. Lamont Simpson called the foul right before Trevon Bluiett slipped.
They made contact with him in the lower part of his body. You can see Morgan's right knee hit Bluiett's right knee. I think that was the right call.
Trevon Bluiett hasn't scored in quite a while. That's his first free throw of the night. 17 points for the 6'6" junior out of Indianapolis.
And he really hasn't had to because of how good Sumner has been. He's got good support from his supporting guys.
Makes them both.
Quick pushes here. You may be able to get Morgan on a trailing three.
Under a minute to go. Good hands by McCura.
Another mistake by the freshman. And Rich, I have a younger son who's a junior in high school, and I'm always on him about whenever you jump up in the air, it has to be to shoot the basketball. You can't jump in the air and make a pass, especially against a long team like Xavier, because of their length being able to get in the way of your pass, and that's exactly what happened on that play.
Shout out to Walter. It's always good. J.P. McCura steps to the line for the first time tonight, but currently he's 20 for 20 on the season. And we jinxed him.
You jinxed him. I didn't say anything.
But we're a team.
We are. Trail three here.
That's the shot they want. And it hasn't been there tonight for Clint Carlson.
And folks, you feel bad for him because really, he was one of the most valuable players in this tournament throughout the tournament, averaging 21 points per game coming into tonight. 50% from three, 65% from the field, and it has not been his night tonight. My last check, I think it was 2 for 9 from the field.
Well, despite his lack of production tonight, I would be shocked if Clint Carlson is not named to the Tire Pros Invitational first team.
Yes. What a great kid, too.
Yeah. Had a chance to talk to him after both Northern Iowa victories, and he's just enjoying being a college player in Cedar Falls.
Gotta love a kid who's sweaty after putting his headphones on and takes a tissue and try to wipe him out for the next person.
Might be too little too late for Northern Iowa. They trail by 9. Ashton knocks down the three.
That's that trail three that they've just not been able to knock down.
And a quick foul from Haldeman on McCura. So J.P. McCura will go back to the line. McCura was held in check tonight. He came into tonight leading this tournament in scoring. So credit Northern Iowa with taking him out of the Xavier offense, but they didn't have an answer for the 1-2 punch of Trevon Bluiett and Ed Sumner.
Yeah, too much size, 1 through 4, essentially starting 4 guards, but they're all like 6'6", and I thought the offensive game plan was perfect, taking advantage of any mismatches that they had down in the post, and then when they got Carlson out on the floor with any of one of those 4, they were able to take him off the bounce. It's a beautifully executed game plan by X.
And here's what's great about being Ben Jacobson right now. As Clint Carlson finally knocks down a three. It's his second of the night. He has 9, and UNI calls their final, or one of their 2 final timeouts. But just to finish the thought on Ben Jacobson, win or lose tonight, Fonz, he's going home with his team feeling really good about his team. We talked about how coaches learn about their squads coming into this tournament, and I don't think there's much negative that he's going to take back on that plane trip to Cedar Falls.
Yeah, you figure they were down 18, could have folded with 7 minutes to go in last night's game. They showed incredible toughness to come back in that game, force it to overtime and win it. And now they come out tonight and go toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the country in X.
And how about this? The scheduling gods have given them a rematch no matter what the outcome of this game is. If you take a look at Northern Iowa's upcoming schedule, their very next game, 6 days from now, is at Xavier.
Wow.
They get to take on the Musketeers at the Cintas Center.
Well, with a bunch of new guys and several freshmen who are getting minutes on the Northern Iowa team, why not play the best teams early in the season to get them a little bit of maturity? But to play the same team, especially in the Cintas Center, that's going to be tough.
And a rematch with North Carolina at UNC after they beat them on their home floor last year. That foul's going to go on Jeremy Morgan right in front of the Northern Iowa bench. So, of course, they're going to be upset that the whistle blew.
What a luxury Chris Mack has in Trevon Bluiett. Really a 2, but can play both the wing 2 spots. And when they go to their smaller lineup, they can slide him down to the 4 because he's so strong and able to hold his position on the defensive end. And, of course, he creates a very difficult matchup problem on the offensive end against any 4. And he's been terrific tonight.
And we just received late word. Trevon Bluiett has been named the MVP of the Tire Pros Invitational.
Well deserved.
He has 19 tonight, looking for 20. And he'll stay on 19. Here's Ashton. Gonna have to fire it up quickly. Morgan does. It's around and out. And Bluiett gets fouled again. And it's academic now, 6.2 left. And a 65-59 Xavier lead. It's going to be back-to-back years inside the HP Fieldhouse that the Xavier Musketeers come in and win 3 straight games to take home a title back to Cincinnati.
Yeah, the ability to withstand runs early and taking advantage of mismatches on the floor, of which Xavier had several of them with that 4 guard around the big lineup here. And to be able to neutralize a hot Clint Carlson to hold him below double figures. The defensive game plan executed beautifully for the Musketeers.
Word is out on Clint Carlson. He's going to be at the top of a lot of scouting reports during the Valley regular season.
I know Wichita State is preseason favorite to win, but they better watch out for Northern Iowa.
And Xavier lays claim to the Tire Pros Invitational title. They win over Northern Iowa 67-59. Trevon Bluiett leads the way as he usually does. Edmund Sumner was terrific tonight as well with 17 points. And the Xavier Musketeers go back to Cincinnati with a championship trophy in their plane. Xavier 67, Northern Iowa 59. They're the Tire Pros Invitational champs. For everybody here at our ESPN family, including my broadcast partner, LaFonso Ellis, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Thanks for watching, and now we send you to the